Okay, Torah concept in the New Testament, ways to live free from anxiety and undue care. Okay, so Paul in 1 Corinthians 7, verses 28 to 35, urges believers to live with undivided devotion to God, free from carefulness, anxiety, and distraction. The Torah does not use the same Greek categories, but it repeatedly lays down principles that parallel this ethic: trusting God's provision, releasing anxiety about daily needs, ordering life around covenantal devotion rather than constantly worrying. Okay, so the Torah parallels to living free from anxiety and undue care. The daily provision is one example. Manna in the wilderness. Exodus 16, verse 4 and verses 19 to 20. Israel is commanded to gather manna daily, not to hoard it. Paul's called to live without divine care, without divided cares, focuses on God's portion for today. Okay, and that's reflected in the manna. Next is the Sabbath rest as a release from anxiety. Exodus 20, verse 8 through 11, Deuteronomy 5, verse 12 to 15. The Sabbath commandment requires ceasing from labor. Paul's vision of undistracted devotion is to rest in God's sufficiency. Next example, release from debt and burdens. Deuteronomy 15, verses 1 through 2. The sabbatical year cancels debts. Note how Paul's concern is that believers not be entangled with undue worldly cares. Next, God's presence removes fear. Deuteronomy 31, verse 6 through 8. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear to be in dread, for the Lord goes with you. Okay, so Paul's encouragement that singleness or marriage should not be divided by fear, but by devotion to God. No, do not worry about food or clothing. That's another one. In Deuteronomy 8, verse 33 through 4. Israel's clothing did not wear out, and God fed them with manna. So Paul is reminding us that worldly cares, pleasing our spouse, managing household, can divide attention, but God's provision is steady. The Torah principle is that anxiety is relieved by trusting God's provision, resting in His appointed times, and focusing on covenantal faithfulness rather than self-driven striving. Paul's application in 1 Corinthians 7 is to live with undivided devotion, free from anxious entanglements, whether married or single. But the Torah and Paul converge on this ethic again. Okay, so freedom from anxiety comes from trusting in God and His provision and His ordering of life around Him. And so this is how Paul taught Torah. The Torah has not passed away.